Welcome back to Mount Connections, everybody. Now, 1 in 10 American adults who were diagnosed with COVID face long haul symptoms. And Dr. Archelle Georgiou is going to talk about CaringBridge, an online community that you can join for anyone who may have long lasting symptoms of COVID, and how you can just have a community that you can get involved with.
Now that all Americans, adults, are eligible for COVID vaccinations, many see the pandemic nearing its end. However, for those suffering from long haul COVID 19, the end feels nowhere in sight. Joining us today to talk about this issue and how people are sharing their COVID journeys is Dr. Archelle Georgiou. Thank you, Doctor, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
What are patients with long haul COVID going through? Tell me a little bit about that, as well as some of their common symptoms.
So, long COVID is when people have symptoms that persist 4 weeks or longer after their initial COVID infection. And so, that is occurring in 10 to 30% of people that have a COVID infection. Those numbers are staggering. Some of the common symptoms are cough, fatigue, shortness of breath, joint pain, chest pain. People complain of a brain fog that makes it difficult to concentrate. But there can be over 200 different symptoms that people have, and those symptoms vary from person to person. But what makes this even more complicated is that those symptoms can vary within the same person from day to day. So for the individual suffering through this, it's almost like being on a roller coaster ride with no end in sight.
And what can you do if you think you are suffering from long haul COVID?
There's a few things that you can do. One is that if you have symptoms, to make sure that you recognize they're real symptoms, they're not imagined, and that you should talk to your doctor about these symptoms to see if there's any better way to manage them, and to also make sure that there's no other underlying condition that may be causing these symptoms that are unrelated to COVID. The second is to recognize that a lot of community physicians aren't familiar with long COVID. They may even be brushing off your symptoms. So if you feel like you're not getting the attention that you need or getting improvement in your care, there are actually long COVID specialty clinics that have emerged across the country. There are over 30 of them that it's at least important to call, if not visit, if your symptoms are not improving. And the third is to recognize that in addition to the medical care, that what we can all do for ourselves is to reach out and surround ourselves with a community, because any individual that's going through a health journey like this, especially something as unpredictable as long COVID, having support around you is extremely important in the whole journey and improving and healing.
How is CaringBridge helping long haulers cope and heal?
Well, for 24 years, CaringBridge has offered on a digital platform a safe, private space where people can share their health information, their health journey with friends and family who want to be informed of what's going on with their care. Family and friends want to help. They just want also need to know how. So what CaringBridge has recognized with long COVID is that this health journey too needs similar support. And so what we've done is created a long COVID resource page. People can go to caringbridge.org/COVID, and they can access the latest research on COVID-19 and long COVID. They can complete a survey that gives information about what they're experiencing with their long COVID so that they can contribute to the research themselves. We'll be publicly releasing those aggregate results in the summer. They can connect to support groups of the thousands of people across the world that are experiencing long COVID. And it's important to connect with people that have similar symptoms so that you can learn from each other and support each other. And you can also start your own CaringBridge page so that you can pull in your private personal support system to help you as you go through these symptoms.
And where can we get more information and help out?
People can go to caringbridge.org/COVID.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Archelle Georgiou, for joining us today. I appreciate this important conversation about how we can help those who are suffering from long haul COVID symptoms.
Thank you so much.